Your line, Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to welcome everybody and bring this Greenville County Council Committee of Whole meeting to order. We will start with the invocation. I'll call on Vice Chairman Bradley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Oh, Lord in heaven, we just thank you for a day that we can come together, a day on your earth that you made for each of us, the air that we can breathe, the water that we drink that you made for all. We thank you for all the creation that you've done. Pray, Lord, you be with us as we go through the meeting, as we go through the business of Greenville County. Pray, Lord, that decisions here will be made for the better of the citizens. I thank you for this day, and as always, Lord, I thank you for what you've done and what you're going to do. In Christ's name I do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next, we have the approval of minutes.
Make a motion that we approve both the October 7th and the October 14th meeting minutes.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we will move on to our interviews and appointments for Greenville Technical College Area Commission. And I will go ahead and start and ask Mr. Ray Lattimore if he's here, if he'd like to come forward and share with us. Welcome, sir.
How you doing?
Good.
Chairman Blunt, members of council, thank you so much for having us come before you today. I'm a candidate to continue my service on Greenville Technical College Area Commission. I've been a member of that commission for 10 to 12 years. I have 2 degrees from that institution, one in marketing and one in computer science. My interest for serving there is that I wouldn't be in a position right now to support my family and Greenville if it wasn't for Greenville Technical College. When I first attended there, I had a 4-year degree in business as well. It was in the early 80s when the economy was rock bottom, 22% interest rate. I ran a hostage situation in Greenville Tech. Even though I had a 4-year degree in business, they afforded me a scholarship to attend. So I picked up a computer science technology degree and a marketing degree, and that's prepared my career in corporate America with MetLife, Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, where I was there for 15 years in IT. Living in New York City, I was ready to come home, and I started my own business, Marketplace Professional Staffing. We've been in business 29 years, and we've placed over 80,000 employees working in Greenville County. I'm very proud of that fact. Also, I was born and raised here in Greenville, a little community called Nicholtown, educated in Greenville County school system, have a great love and affiliation for Greenville Technical College, served all 3 presidents. I think the platform has been set for Dr. Larry Miller to be the best of the 3, if you ask me. We have an outstanding area commission, and some of you all know them. You appointed them there. I'm here because of redistricting. In my district, we was paired up with Coleman Childs, so I withdrew my name from that round of ballot so that Coleman can continue to serve, and I would re-up again as a at-large member of the area commission. My goal in life is all about economic development and education, educating the citizenry of Greenville County. Most of you know that I served on GADC, Greenville Area Development Corporation, for 11 years. I chaired that organization. I was a member of Greenville Chamber of Commerce at that point in time. I seen the value in GADC and what they was trying to accomplish, and it was a pretty tough time, but I made the decision to join GADC Board of Directors, and I became chairman of that board. Also chaired the United Way Board. In 12 years of meeting with Greenville Technical College, I think I missed 1 meeting in 12 years, and that was because of travel on business. We have an outstanding committee. We're doing some great work there, and just want to continue serving.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lattimore. Anybody have any questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Mr. Justin Sanders. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman, council members, and fellow citizens. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I am honored to present myself for consideration to the Greenville Technical College Area Commission. Greenville Technical College has long been one of the cornerstones of our community, a place where opportunity meets practice, where hard work builds merit, where potential turns to progress. This institution reflects Greenville's values, a community built on perseverance, innovation, and inclusion. Greenville Technical College is an institution that believes every person deserves a fair chance to build a better future. As a second-generation Greenvillian, I am proud to say that I have benefited from Greenville Tech's mission and vision. I received my transfer credits from GTC, as well as 2 associate's degrees, one in history and one in applied science for accounting. Because of the education I received is in part why I stand here today. I also come to respect my status as a combat veteran and a former teacher. I have made my life in the service of the public and wish to keep my success, or share, excuse me. I wish to share my success with the following generations, our current and future citizens as well. With those looking for advancement in a changing economic landscape, my priority, if given the privilege to serve, is simple yet vital: to ensure Greenville Technical College continues to provide the access to opportunity for all who seek it, whether that's a young student discovering a trade, a working adult learning a new skill, or a neighbor restarting their life's path. Greenville Technical College should remain a gateway, not a gatekeeper. We know the challenges ahead: the rapid pace of technology, the changing needs of employers, and the economic and social barriers that can keep capable people from reaching their goals. Meeting these challenges requires leadership that listens, partnerships that last, and policies that keep students at the center of every decision. As an area commission member, I would approach this role with humility and the sense of duty to steward the public trust responsibly, to support the faculty and staff who make this mission possible, and to ensure the college continues to deliver programs that meet both workforce demand and our community's potential. Thank you again for your time and for your service towards my consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Any questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Having heard those, I'm sure we're getting ready to get our
Thank you.
thank you. Oh, and just to make sure, because I didn't announce this earlier, we do have Dr. Fant on Zoom with us, so he will be voting as well. So we'll include that in the count once we get there. All right, we will go ahead and move along while they're working on tallying that up to the next agenda item, which is fee in lieu of tax allocations ordinance. And I'm guessing the best process for this probably to turn it over to Mr. Cannell to provide any input, and then we'll open the floor for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, just to remind you back when we passed the 2026 budget, we had some increase in FELO revenue to fund roads. And so this is the actual ordinance that will accomplish that. And originally, we had proposed just taking all the FELOs and reallocating the percentage to the county. We did get some pushback, as you know, and from various taxing entities. So we went back and revisited that and came back with a revised suggestion to go forward. So basically, what this ordinance does, it raises the amount the county keeps from 30% to 80% from the FELOs that aren't on the books yet. Now, we picked a year 2023 because that's the last year that we can go back, quite frankly, and gain the ones that haven't been put on the books yet and go forward. We have an estimate right now that'll generate currently approximately $8 million, which gets us a long way for 2026. And then going forward, it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 million that are currently on the books additional, which is exactly, will track very nicely with the proposed budget that we put in front of you back in June. So this does not harm any of the taxing jurisdictions going back. We don't take away any money that they were getting. It just reduces the amount of growth that they would see in the FELO side of it. It doesn't affect any of the residential, commercial, any of the other taxes that they get. It's just the FELOs that county council approves.
All right. So I'll open up the floor for any discussion on this. Councilor Seaman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe just, can you just clarify the timing again? So this would, if this passes in this normal course of action, it would start immediately or with our next budget cycle?
It would start with the tax bills that go out this fall.
Okay.
If any of them are picked up at that point. Keep in mind, when you approve a FELO, that's probably not going to hit the tax rolls for 3 to 5 years, just depending on what it is, what the business is and all that, what construction they have to put in, what investments they have to make, hiring people and all that. It takes quite a little while to get going. So while we've seen a number pass in the last couple of years, those haven't hit the tax rolls yet. So that's what we're hoping to pick up.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
sir.
just like to
Councilor
remind my colleagues here that this fee structure of 80/20 is actually almost should be 100% for the county. And here's the rationale behind that is that when you consider the fee structure that we currently have in place, 60/30, the majority of those taxes that we're collecting from FELOs are going to entities that can already tax themselves and already have millage. So it doesn't, I don't think the original intent was ever to have these taxing entities get this from us. This was for the county to go ahead and for infrastructure and things like that. That's what these FELOs, I believe, after looking back at the intent of a FELO from the state, is for the counties to be allowed to build infrastructure and do things like that. These entities that get this money currently have their own millage and their own tax. And if you look at some of those taxes, if you look at your tax bill, 18% of that goes to the county. The rest of it is the rest of these taxing entities that raise taxes pretty regularly compared to the county. So I just want my colleagues to consider that. If we're not really hurting these taxing entities at all, they can go out and raise their millage because that's what these tax districts were designed for. And if they can't make their budget with the millage they have, then they'll need to increase that. But the county should get the revenues that it's doing to support its infrastructure, the things it needs to move forward. So I just hope you would consider passing this ordinance.
Thank you, Councilor McGahee. Councilor Mitchell?
Mr. Chairman, question for the administrator. The counties that you have listed on here, what will be the impact of this resolution with those counties, if any?
No impact.
Either way?
They get 1% across the board.
Okay.
They'll still get their same 1%.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilor Long?
Under E, it talks about the intent is to use the funds toward multi-county industrial business park revenues, things like that, and for roads. So it says the intent. My question would be, if we do not use it for the intent here, would that come back to council before that intent was changed? Since it's vague saying intent. So how would that be handled?
So I think what she's saying too, under E, basically, well, I guess another question I could tag on to it is what other ways could these funds be used outside of what is listed under E?
Well, these funds, they can be used for county operations, but it's all through approval by county council that has to be done budget time, which is what we do now. The intent is to use this. You all approved a budget with increased funding for infrastructure, for roads. This is what pays for that.
Right.
So that's the intent, and that's what the plan is. I mean, if y'all want to change that, you could, but it would take county council to do it.
I think that's what she was alluding to, is that if it was going to be
Yeah.
reallocated the other direction, we would have to approve
Yeah,
it.
you
Right.
would
It would
bring
come
this
to you.
back.
Yeah, we have a current ordinance in place, talks about the 30%.
Right.
And 30% comes to us, it goes to infrastructure,
Right.
it's used for roads, it's used for general fund reimbursement. It's all things that county council has to approve.
Okay, I just want to make sure on that it didn't get used for another purpose and us not know it.
No?
Okay, thank you.
Just to clarify the ability to spend FILO money, in the past, it has not always gone to roads, is that correct?
That's correct. It currently does not go to just
And currently, it
roads.
does not just go for roads. And under this, we are recapturing more of the FILO money for county discretion, but it doesn't have to just be spent on roads.
We are designating this for roads.
In this ordinance, in this,
The 80% is for roads.
that's what it's saying in this?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that's
That's
what-
what we need it for. I mean,
Understood.
Yeah.
So any of this 80% we're capturing is going to roads?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And a portion of the current 30% is going to roads too. In
But-
order to get to the big number of 30-some-odd million, we need them both.
Okay. But that, yeah, no, I understand. I just want to make sure that the 20% that's going somewhere else, we have no control over. It goes to those
Tax
special
entities.
tax districts. Yes, right.
Just, Mr. Chairman, if I
Councilman
may,
Gay.
and just be aware, colleagues, that, it's the intent of this council, right? We have elections every 2 years, so we're changing the ordinance from what it was to this, and that's our intent, but that could change in 2, 4, 6 years, so just, it's not permanent. It's saying that our intent moving forward, and at which point, the next council in 2 years, next year, if there's an election, it changes, it'll change. But this, our intent, and I think that's why it uses that language, if I am correct, the intent of this council is that.
Thank you very much. All right, anybody else? Hearing nothing, I'll entertain a motion on this.
Move to approve.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Before we move on to the next agenda item, I will go back to agenda item 4, Greenville Technical College Area Commission interviews. And the choice, although both were great interviews, was Mr. Ray Lattimore. And that will be filling that vacancy. All right, moving to the next agenda item, we are down to discussion on the FY 2027 budget for Greenville County. And I know this might be kind of backwards, but I was speaking with several members from the Sheriff's Department, and they said there's an event at 6 o'clock, I believe, so I wanted to make sure they got opportunity to share with us ahead of time before we get into the discussion on the budget. So Sheriff Lewis and whoever would like to come and share, or Mr. Moore.
Major Michael.
Yeah. Major, how you doing, sir?
Good, how are y'all?
Good.
Want to thank everybody for the opportunity, especially you, Chairman, to reaching out and asking me to come and speak today. The email that I sent to each and every one of you and the administrator is falling directly in line with your goal of being transparent with the public about what's going on. I want you all to know also that we at the Sheriff's Office, every employee is thankful for the 6% raise that we got this year. But what I've come to talk to you today about is not a raise. Here's the story that the numbers tell us right now. In 2020 and 2021, we were the highest paid officers in the state, according to an article in the state newspaper. As of 2025, we had fallen down the list so far that the 6% raise that you gave us brought us up to 16th. And now, since then, we have fallen to 31st on that list. That's not counting state agencies like SLED and the Highway Patrol. The numbers also show us that we are the hardest working officers in the state, bar none, with 12,000 arrests by Greenville County deputies in year 2023, according to SLED. The next closest agency in the state to us was Myrtle Beach, and they had 7,600 arrests. The only difference between the two of us is that Myrtle Beach Police Department is the highest paid agency in the state right now. Some have said that money is not the reason that people leave, and in a way, they're right. It is a combination of the money, the standard at which we work at, which is designated by the sheriff, the people of this county, and the National Association for the Accreditation of Law Enforcement Officers. Why in the world would anybody stay here to have those kind of standards put upon them when they could go to another agency where there are no standards, where there's a lighter workload, and they can make the same or less money than what we make here? And for example, we lost an officer to Fountain Inn because they paid him at least what we were making or more. And his words to me were, why would I stay here when I can go there and answer 3 calls a day and still get paid the same amount of money and a brand new car? This law enforcement crisis is nationwide. And for an example, we all just saw President Trump use the National Guard in Washington, D.C. One of the reasons he had to do that is because the Washington Metropolitan Police Department is 800 to 1,000 officers short of their 4,000 total allotment. The time to hire and train 1,000 officers is probably a decade or more to get those many people on the street. And we certainly can't afford to have that happen here, to where somebody has to activate the National Guard to keep our streets safe. And that brings me to a very inconvenient truth, and I think a somewhat unwanted fact and a misunderstanding that we have. If anyone thinks that law enforcement officers are unskilled labor and you can just hire someone and plug and play them, you have a deep misunderstanding of law enforcement in today's world. It doesn't happen that way anymore. Certified officers from the state of South Carolina are the easiest to put in place, but we still get officers from other agencies that do not function at the level we do, that do not function in a dangerous environment that we function in, and we have to keep them in training sometimes for the full 16 weeks. There is no break for us in that, but they can go on their own after that. When you deal with officers from outside the state, they have to go through testing and training before they can be certified in the state. And then we have to put them into field training. And to give you an example, we had a gentleman come from Oakland, California, and he got hired with us. And within a month, he resigned. And his words were, I didn't know it was going to be that busy here. Oakland, California is one of the most dangerous cities in the nation. And he thought it was too busy in Greenville County. When we have an uncertified deputy, it may be as much as 12 months before they answer the first call on their own. And when I lose an investigator, right now I have an investigator in the process with SLED, a white-collar investigator. He has applied with SLED to get a $20,000 raise to work fewer cases and do the same job that he's doing right now. Why would he not go? And it's 2 or 3 years to replace him. Because first you have to learn how to be a cop, and then you have to learn how to do white collar, which is an ever-changing field. We're just now starting to get into the computer and the currency and the bitcoins and things like that. And the fact is that we have 30 openings. We have 30 new hires, but we have 30 openings on top of that. So when you consider the fact that a new hire is no use to us, we have 60 openings at the sheriff's office. And I have never, in my more than 20 years, ever seen it this bad. That's why I sent you that email, so you would know. The amount and quality of certified applicants that can pass a polygraph test, background test, pass training, and not be overwhelmed to the point of quitting during FTO has dropped as much as 50% since we have fallen behind 30 other agencies on the pay scale for the entire state. This is a spiral that we have entered. I hate to use the word doom spiral, but we are there. We are not hiring replacement officers anymore. The only way to arrest this spiral and get it to stop now is a $12,000 adjustment across the board for every person that works at the sheriff's office. That puts us back on the top of the pay scale. When the four of you new councilmen, before you took office, you met with me, everything that I told you was happening right now, I told you about then. And I told you we needed a $10,000 adjustment then to put us back at the top of the pay scale. Now it's $12,000. And it's only going to get bigger. But not doing anything now and not keeping us at least in the top 5, if not at the very top of the pay scale, it is basically tantamount to defunding the police. Several council members have spoken to me about plans for the future, but as I pointed out to them, we are losing right now, not in the future. The adjustment that I'm talking about is basically a 24% increase across the board. We asked for 12 in the last budget. It was reported that we asked for 3. Then we had to fight to get 6. If we get 12 that year and 12 the next year, it adds up to what I told you before you took office, to that 24% to put us back on the top. That hasn't happened. No one else gave up anything to get that 6%, but the sheriff gave up 12 positions. And a lot of people say, well, you can't fill them anyway, so why do you get them? The jail's not filling them either, but they took theirs. So the fact is, we are willing to compromise. But there's certain things, our standards and our goals and what we want for this community, we're not willing to compromise on. We could lower our standards and maybe hire more people. We could lower our standards in training and maybe put more people on the road, but we're not interested in doing that. We're desperately clinging to what we've got and trying to make it work. The money for these positions that we have that could have went into the budget that went toward pay raises, if everybody had to give up their positions, we might have gotten a better pay raise than that for all of public safety. And I'm afraid to tell you, I've been here for a long time. I've served Greenville County more than most of the people that are up there. And the fact is that I've seen this coming over the last 15 years or so, the neglect that has occurred, not only at the sheriff's office, but at the detention center. They're about 60 people short as well, if not more. One of them's here, you can ask them. But the fact is, if we don't do something soon, we're not going to be able to answer those calls for service. We have already started pulling people back from other units inside our agency to meet minimum staffing on the road. This is not something that's happening in the future. It's happening right now as we speak. A lot of this has been done and deals were made and cans kicked down the road so that everybody could say that we weren't raising taxes in Greenville County. And I don't have anything to do with raising taxes, but I pay them. I am a taxpayer in Greenville County and have been for probably close to 30 years. With these deals being made and the cans being kicked down the road, it has been neglect that has gone on at the sheriff's office and the detention center. There will soon be a time when judges let people sign bonds because there's not enough detention center people inside the facility to safely take care of what they have, which is tantamount to a cashless bond system. All the things that are happening in the rest of the country that people are so angry about that got people elected and put the National Guard out on the street are starting to happen here. Please, I'm asking you today, as we go into this new budget year, give us the ability to compete and win. And when I say winning, I mean safely providing a level of service and professionalism in law enforcement that we can, the highest one. We all speak about core governmental functions, and I would submit that we are the core governmental function. We are required by law and by the state constitution to be in the sheriff business, to be in the detention center business, and to be in the prosecution business. But those are the things that are being ignored for everything else. And those decisions aren't mine to make. I'm here basically to tell you what's happening. The decisions are y'all's to make in the end. I can tell you that law enforcement and jail services in Greenville County are in crisis. I would ask that you not sacrifice because the sheriff didn't support you politically and that we could come together at this time to do the right thing for the people in Greenville County. And I would ask you, please do not balance this budget and do not make the decisions on the backs of the sheriff deputies that are risking their lives for you every day. We are in one of the most dangerous counties in the state. You've seen it in the officer-involved shootings that we've had and the officers that have been hurt. And I would end, before I take any of your questions, with asking you one. I don't think any of you sitting up there could seriously imagine that you would get a complaint from one of your constituents because you had a fully funded and well-paid sheriff's office, making Greenville County one of the most safest places in the state to live. That's all I have, sir. If y'all have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you very much. I will open it up. If anybody does have questions, I have a question or two, but I'll open it to anybody else if they have any first. Where I can start.
Well,
Councilor Singh.
thank you very much for being here this evening. Not necessarily a question for you, but maybe just, Mr. Chairman, are just curious if we're going to forward speaking to us on the budget to other departments of the county.
I think moving forward, it would be appropriate. I know we didn't get a chance to do that in the last one, but if there's any that would like to, I don't see why that would be a problem.
And maybe I may, while I have the floor, curious, you referenced deals that were made. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, ma'am. There were positions given to the sheriff's office that we would not fill. And the deal was not under the current sheriff, but that we would not fill those positions so that people at County Square could say, we gave them to you, and we were told, don't fill them until this date or this date or this date. So again, we fell behind. And I gave a lot of information to almost promoted you, Councilman Collins, about what the average officer per 1,000 people ratio is. And it's not a recommendation, but an average. We are below the lowest average here in Greenville County at 1.5 per 1,000. The lowest in the rest of the country is 1.6, and that is out west. So if we went by the lowest standard at 1.6, we are 40 officers short. If we go by the highest standard and the median standard that they have, we are almost 300 officers short to be able to do the job that you guys want us to do every day. And that's agency-wide, and that's only the unincorporated areas of the county.
Thanks, Jim.
I'll ask one of my questions. And when you mentioned how in, I think, 21, you were ranked at, I don't remember what the number was. First, and then it dropped down, then it dropped down again.
Yes, sir.
Is that ranking counties, or is it including municipalities too?
It includes everybody. The reason that I did not include the state agencies is when I was looking for a metric to show you the work that was being done, it's hard to quantify each individual county against an entire state agency like the Highway Patrol. And that's the only reason I left them off. The state newspaper, I do not know what they used in that, but the last one we looked at and what I gave you was actually Captain Jackson, who's over recruiting, went to individual websites and got their pay from those websites. So there could be a discrepancy if somebody's website has not been updated or they didn't have it listed.
And the reason I was asking too, maybe a follow-up question is there any trends that show that all the counties seem to be sliding down the scale and the municipalities were going up, or is it just that Greenville County was the one that was going down?
I'm sure there's movement for the rest of them. I particularly looked at our agency.
Sure.
Some have moved up. Like if you look at some of the packet that I gave him, I don't know if you got it from him, the top two agencies are Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach Police Department, and their starting pay is the exact same. So I'm assuming that councils got together and said, let's stop shipping officers back and forth. We'll start them same way you start them at, and we'll put our guys at the top. And I think what's going to happen is, with our size and the resources that we should have in Greenville County, we're going to have to put ourselves out of reach for some of these other places to stop competing with us. We never take more people from them than what they can afford to lose. I don't know how many times in local agencies and municipalities here in the county a couple of years ago where we could have taken as many officers as we wanted, but we didn't because that would put them in a bad spot. So we could have filled ourselves had we been greedy, but we didn't do that. And I think that's where we have to go back to, is that we're not within reach. And it used to be in Greenville County, when I got hired, the only time during the year that you could apply, if you weren't certified, was February, the shortest month of the year. Every other day you could apply if you were certified. And that's been a long time ago, and that's changed. But Greenville County was always the place to be. It was where you were going to get the most experience. You were going to be able to make the most money. I was a sergeant in Anderson County when I came to work up here to be a deputy, and I got a $4,000 a year pay raise to come here in 1997. And now we lose people to Anderson County. I think the last couple of guys we lost, they offered them over $60,000 a year to come down there and work, to take less calls, to have less restrictions on pursuits and things like that, to have less restrictions on use of force. And I'm not downgrading them, I'm just telling you what we operate by. And the National Association for the Accreditation of Law Enforcement Agencies, just so you'll know what that means, if they would have passed the Police Reforming Act after George Floyd, if that would have passed, it would have changed nothing at the Greenville County Sheriff's Office because we're already operating at that level, which saves the county money. A lot of times when we do get sued, they stipulate to a lot of things because we've been doing it so long. We were the 12th sheriff's office accredited in the United States and the first agency accredited in the state of South Carolina. So we have, I think, 95% of all of the standards that they have. We try to follow 100, but we have 95 that we have to follow to keep our accreditation.
Councilman Gay.
Major Moore and Sheriff, thank you for coming tonight. Really appreciate everything you guys do and appreciate all the sheriffs out there on a daily basis. They're awesome and just appreciate everything they do. You threw out a lot of facts and numbers, and I did some research last night in preparation for tonight, knowing you would. You claimed we're the lowest ratio per 1,000 people in the state. Where did you get?
No, sir. I did not. I didn't say that.
You did?
No, I did not say that.
What did you
want to
say?
go back and listen again. What I said was,
Please don't be rude.
I'm not being rude, but you're wrong, and I'm trying to correct you. The fact is, I said, if you take the lowest standard for the nation, we're under that standard. The DOJ paperwork and
That's not what you
Councilman
said. You said in the
Collins,
state, we have the
no.
lowest ratio in the state. Go back in the
No, I
minutes.
didn't.
Stop talking.
Please.
Go back in the minutes, please.
I'm not, please don't talk to me
Let's
that way.
let's bring this
Please.
back to order.
No.
Let's
Joey,
bring
be
this
quiet.
back to order and just in general.
Mr. Chairman, if we could check the minutes, please. No, he's correcting me, and I just want to make sure that what he said was, I wrote it down. We're not the lowest in the state. So I just want to correct that because we're throwing out a lot of information to the public and they're seeing this online and it's not true. So I want to make sure the public is getting the facts that are correct.
And I don't know for sure if we have the ability to go back and get those in real time or not, but
Okay. I would offer to my colleagues, if you research this yourself some, if you would. It's 1.42 if you take out the unincorporated areas. I looked last night, and it's in fact right in the medium of all counties of this side within 500 miles of Greenville. So that includes most of South Carolina, if I'm thinking correctly. So just to make sure that we're aware that the ratio of staffing is correct. Now, do I agree? Maybe do we need to pay more? That's a different discussion. But I want to make sure the public is correct that our staffing ratio is not the lowest in the state. I want my colleagues and the public to be aware of that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, he has the documentation about what I addressed, the Department of Justice, and it does not specifically speak about South Carolina. It specifically speaks about a 1.6 ratio out west, and I definitely said out west. So just so we make sure.
well, and if you don't mind, we could either get it from Counselor Collins or if you wanted to
I
maybe.
will email it to you, yes, sir.
Send out a copy
If
and
you
we'll
don't have
pass it around.
If I may, forgive me.
So, no,
Major, thank you for meeting with me the other day.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming.
Again, I kind of anticipated what it was about. And Sheriff, thank you for being there too. Forgive me, I can't speak. But, one of the main things that I'm worried about is deputies on the road. Okay, I understand everybody works law enforcement, public safety. I get it. But where the rubber hits the road is where I get people coming. I haven't seen a deputy in all day. I haven't seen a deputy in 2 days. And I understand that. Whatever it is, some could be going opposite directions. I get it. But my biggest exodus that I'm hearing is from the deputies of patrol. Would that be correct?
Yes, sir, it's like 40%. I have the exit interviews you asked me for.
Right, yes, sir. I just didn't have a chance
I
to get
understand.
around to it. Forgive me. I have a couple other
I'll
things
give it
doing
to you.
besides my nails.
Yeah, yeah.
I do pay attention to my nails, but anyway, no, just kidding. So what I'm saying is, when I focus with you and the gentleman I had and the sheriff the other day, those are the things I was looking at addressing. Because and don't take this the wrong way. I mean, I'm an HR guy. I understand how it works. But as a back shop, an employee that's not out on the road in the cars all the time, I mean, that's what people need to see. That's who's going to answer that 911 call. That's where I was focusing on. That I told you I could work with something for that patrol deputy that would put some out there. And some of those things that we identified, and I don't know where they went from our conversation, was a bonus, 3 to 5 year bonus, because that's where you said 12 to 18 months of keeping them fully trained. Okay, so if we took a new recruit, say a $5,000 bonus, after you pass the enforcement academy, you get half of that. On your 3rd year anniversary, you get the other half. And then that would get you to that 3 to 5 year where you want to retain to get some type of strength continuity, correct?
The reason,
Help me.
yeah, absolutely. What I say about that is I saw the bonuses go out west 10 years ago. And what was happening was officers were moving from California to Nevada, back to California. Every time somebody offered a bigger bonus, they picked up and moved. So I myself will take anything you give us.
Okay, what have you tried new besides that?
What have I tried to
This
do?
is what you've been doing, so what are you doing now?
I can't do anything with money.
Okay.
But what I know for a fact is that that's icing on a cake, and I'm talking about cake.
Right, but you said your deputies are leaving because of money.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm giving them money up front. Well, I propose an incentive to lock them in that 3 to 5 years, which is essential in force stabilization. Would you agree?
I would, but I don't think that's the kind of thing that I would recommend.
So you think a $12,000 pay raise for each law enforcement public safety is where it's at?
Yes, sir.
And what's your percentage of a back 20-year office position leaves because of money? How many percentage on a percentile
What do you
of your
mean?
deputies at 42% that leave for money? How much of your, I don't want to say desk job, but back office support leave for money? Because if it's 42, it can't be more than 60%. Because you tell me you got that big of turnover in the office at 60%?
In criminal investigations, I have a 1.5%
Okay.
turnover.
And 42 on deputies, go ahead.
I mean, I have all of them here if you want me to read all of them.
Okay, but my point is, I think that's where the focus we should be at. Because if you, and then, shifts, we got 12-hour shifts, and I know we got a Bravo, Charlie, Alpha, and Echo that runs a split shift from 7, let's just say 7 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got an Echo shift that comes in, right, 12 to 12-ish?
2 to 2, yes.
Okay, 2 to 2. All right. And I mentioned an incentive bonus from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. That's in the military. We got, well, Air Force, forgive me. We got a night differential pay, okay?
Sure.
So, but that said, that's one of those things that would give you. But if you have you looked at taking the Echo platoon and splitting that with the 12 and 12? You're adding 16 more deputies on a shift.
And we do add them during the most busy times.
Right.
So we
But the
make
most
them in,
busy
we
time,
add
but
them.
what that's going to do is going to reduce call volume. And I know, I'm just throwing it out there,
Yeah,
Sheriff.
and I appreciate it.
And then what you're looking at, you still got your rank structure, but then you have and if you have to assign 1 or 2 to the jail
We
for
don't-
that
we don't have-
processing.
We don't have anything to do with the
Well,
jail. We don't
I
run
know,
the jail.
but I'm just saying,
Sheriff
a lot of
doesn't run the
times,
jail.
when
But
I was
if you
patrolling with
could-
them,
yeah.
real quick, they said one of the biggest hangups when we go to process in the evenings or in the night is shift change, and that's what Echo would take over for.
Sure.
And I understand that, but it's just somewhere I'm looking outside the box.
Right.
If it's feasible.
Thinking outside the box, a $12,000 raise is outside the box. But let me tell you what you're missing. Our days are broken up into thirds.
Yes.
So we spend a third of our time patrolling, a third of our time taking calls, and a third of our time doing administrative stuff.
Absolutely.
So when you start to squeeze something for lack of manpower, what you have is it comes away from the third of patrolling because the taking calls doesn't get any lower and the administrative stuff doesn't get any lower. Writing reports, warrants, all of those things. The fact is that if we take Echo away and put them on the regular shift, there is going to be nobody. It's going to raise overtime rate across the board because people are going to be held over on calls. And we won't have any shift coming out during the peak time when the calls are coming in. We just have them available at 9 o'clock in the morning when they're not as busy. They'll be available then and won't come out at 2 in the afternoon when things are getting busy. You won't have them available.
Right, but you'll have that additional 16, because was it 32 per
Saying it's
platoon?
no.
28?
Echo and Fox are both smaller platoons.
Oh, they're 24,
20.
26, 20?
22,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, 22 is like when I was, okay. But did you see, even
Yeah, I
at
see
11
what
and
you're
11,
saying.
I mean, so you're, whether you're 6 in this or 12 or a half dozen here, I mean, you can still tweak it. It's just an idea.
Yeah, and it's just like when shifts have, like at Michelin or anything else, they have split shifts when they come in when the work is the hardest.
Sure.
So that's what they're doing now. But those are the reasons. And as far as the bonus pay, I don't think $5,000 makes somebody stay when they can get a $20,000 raise. Much like the housing thing that you talked about, we lost somebody, and it's in here.
Sure.
We lost a civilian employee that got a $20,000 raise to go to the city. And he talked about a housing loan program where deputies could afford to move into the county. But she got a raise that made her monthly payment on her home every month. She didn't have to worry about a program that's down the road. This is occurring right now.
And I'm going to say this, just forgive me, Lord. To be a Greenville County Sheriff, I mean, it's just a badge of honor. I mean, and you're going to do it, but there's those that's going to weed out that don't want to do that or rise to the sheriff's standard. And I get that. And they're going to filter out here to there because they want to be, gosh, I want to be easy on this, not as busy.
Sure.
Fair.
Sure.
But at the same time, let them go. But, you don't want those unless you're going to get up, sit on the front of your chair,
It's
and say,
easy.
Sheriff, I got you.
But that's easy to say when you have got 60
No,
openings.
no,
It's
it's not.
easy for you to say when you're not out
It
there
didn't
without
just
backup.
happen last January, right?
No, we were actually pretty full in January.
So let me.
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
forgive me.
No, nothing wrong with the discussion. I just wanted to step in and say that I think that this is kind of what I was hoping we would get to discuss.
Yes,
But I
sir.
think at the same time, it might be good to move along with this part so we can get to the actual budget discussion. And then maybe I'll make sure to let, and I want to call on Councilor Russo first too, but I'll make sure to let you know when we do have the first workshop, and maybe we can further that discussion that way, because I think it's good discussion and public would like
Anything
to
that
hear
you
it.
want for those workshops, we'll be glad to get it for you.
Mr. Chair, before I go, but yeah, this is great, and we're working together, and that's why I'm trying to,
Yeah. Do you want these
it's
now?
a whack-a-mole, or a revolving door.
Right, but to get the highest quality people, you have to pay the money to get them.
And sometimes the lower quality
And-
is like that.
And
Well, we
Council,
do let them know, but the fact is, if we don't raise the starting salary,
Councilor
people
Russo.
don't apply.
Yes, sir.
Here, I'm just wanted to say in all due respect, I appreciate, since you're asking a lot of questions, I appreciate all of us really asking a lot of these questions. I also think we all need to be careful about telling police how to police when we sit in chairs and we don't have to be on the line. And when you talk about, well, the desk job, we're talking about people that if a shooting happens, you'll see that whole building at the LEC clear out because all those desk jobs will go to that call as well. So I'd caution all of us to sit here and try to place value on someone that might not be on uniform patrol. So we need to look at this as a whole picture, not just, all right, I get it, yeah, uniform patrol has a big issue, but you can't say, all right, well, if you got a desk job, then you don't get to get anything. So I think this is a discussion, obviously, that we need to have. We need to keep looking at this, and obviously, you guys all know where I stand with this, and I'm certainly in favor of doing everything we possibly can. So,
Yeah, Mr. Chair, real quick, and when I said desk job, it was recognized as an office job because
Gotcha.
you're not driving a car.
Gotcha.
So,
They drive a car, though.
yeah, no, I understand that, but my point was easily identifiable to those watching. Okay.
Councilor Mitchell.
Mr. Chair, I just have a quick question. What would you be proposing that we raise the salary of a deputy from where it is now to where you think it should be? What kind of an increase are we looking at? Are we talking
It's,
5,000, 10,000,
$12,000.
15,000?
12,000 is what it is, about 24%.
So that would be your average across the board?
For everybody, yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr.
And
Chairman.
how many?
It's 600 sworn, but I'm asking also for civilian and dispatchers and everybody to also get that. I've got 2 plans in here if you'd like me to give you a copy
No,
of that.
I just need to know so I
Yes,
can multiply.
Yes, sir. We have
So-
770 employees and 600 sworn.
It was 12,000, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Counselor Farmer?
Major, appreciate you coming out here. Can you clarify what the percentage increase would be in order to add another 12,000 to the salary? Do you
It's
know the
about a
number?
24% raise.
24% raise.
Yes, sir. I didn't do those exact numbers. That's what it was at a
Uh-huh.
little bit over 10,000. But that's what, it's close to a 24% raise across the board.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman?
Counselor McGahee?
Major Moore, what's the current average salary in the sheriff's office?
I don't know what the average
Average.
salary is. I can tell you what the starting salary is.
No, I'm not asking that because that's a
Well,
misnomer.
But I just
The
told you I
average.
can't tell you what the
Okay.
average is. But I can get that for you and email it to you.
Okay, perfect, yeah. I'd like that number. I mean,
Sure.
And I'll just, I'll conclude
Mr.
this part unless there's another
I'm
question.
sorry, Mr. Collins, do you know the
Yeah,
number?
it's, I'm showing through Job Finder on, internet is 65,000, 64,850 average pay. Lowest being
64,000.
55, top 74K.
Just for patrol?
Average Greenwood County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, because I know there's over 60 employees that make over 100 grand. So, I mean,
And again, that's just the
Yeah.
latest number. that
there's
I
a
got.
lot, yeah. So, okay, no, send me all the numbers. It'd be great to know exactly what the pay scale is. Thank you.
And I'd just like to conclude by saying, I'm sure everybody got the email from you, and if they'd like to ask any follow-up questions, I'm sure you would engage with them that way
I would
as
meet
well.
with anybody on council.
All right?
Thank you. Ma-
We'll make sure,
I just
we'll
wanna
make sure
say thank
everybody's
you.
got it.
You
Thank
wanna
you
make
very
sure he
much.
gets it?
Yes,
Thank you very
absolutely.
much.
Yep, thank you very much. And then from there, I guess we will go into the budget discussion, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Cannell for that, and we'll go from there.
All right, Mr. Chairman, members of council, as you're aware, back in the spring, when we started having budget discussions, we did 2 one-year budgets, somewhat simultaneously, but then held off the second one to the next fiscal year. And then it was suggested, let's push it off to the fall, which we've done, obviously. It's October, the end of October now. That was somewhat foreign for a lot of us, even though some of us grew up with one-year budgets. When we came here and spent a lot of time here, we got into doing 2 one-year budgets concurrently. We started looking at it, and actually a comment that was made by county council, not a negative comment, but just an informative comment about I'd like to see the first quarter results before we start talking a budget going forward. And knowing that we could provide you a first quarter report, which you'll be getting one here shortly, they're putting it together now, that's going to tell you absolutely nothing. It'll show you a collection of taxes of maybe $3 million on 180 million worth of taxes. So how are you going to make a judgment based on that? You know, we don't collect taxes until December, January, February. That's when they start coming in. So it kind of turned the light on for me, saying, wait a minute, we're really not gaining anything jumping into this budget now. And it's not that we don't have it ready, because actually we do. But you just heard a report from the sheriff's office with some needs that they have. Keep in mind, that is about 25% of our workforce, the sheriff's office. It's a big operation, but it's 25%. We have 75% to also think about. And when you start talking numbers that they're talking, which are in the $10 to $12 million range, you can't afford it. I'll tell you that right now, based on where we are currently. And that would just be that side of it. We still have a lot more to address also. We have a detention center, as was mentioned. They're down 45 individuals today, which is very critical also. EMS, they're down about 25 positions today. There again, that is critical. So we need to not work in a vacuum, I don't believe. I think we need to look at the whole picture, and whatever that number is, whatever we potentially can give in raises, to public safety, I think we need to look at the whole picture, quite frankly, because we will create our own problems if we start singling out different areas and not focusing on all of it. The sheriff's office can do their job, but if you need EMS and they can't come because we don't have people, they can't do their job. So it's fire department's well-staffed, I can tell you. At least their trucks and sirens work. But my point is, I think we'd be doing ourselves justice by holding off with the 2027 budget. We're just basically 1 quarter into the 26 budget. And it'll actually buy us some more time to actually research some of these issues also, because these are going to be somewhat complex to try to solve. Pay issues for sheriff, for the EMS, for all our employees. And then, we're going through a reassessment, which is great. We are going to roll back our millage, about 6.6 mils. Part of that is due to required state law. And the other 1.5 mil was a voluntary reduction that county council requested and put in place. So there's going to be some, just looking at numbers in a little different light as we go forward, but it will give us the opportunity to really delve into this and not just say, well, this is what I saw, or this is what what they're paying. We've been doing this quite a while now, and when we did become the top in salaries for sheriff's office, that created the arms race. And then the city, because I got the calls from all the city managers complaining, why'd you do that? And then the same way with the surrounding counties. So it's a constant battle. And unfortunately, we don't have unlimited resources. So we have to be very judicious how we deploy our resources. And I think we've done a great job over the years. Yes, we have slipped. I'm not debating that at all. It's just a matter of how do we get there? Wherever there is, we have to define that first and then figure out how to get there, which I think we can do, but we need some time to do it. And I think it behoove all of us to just go back to a regular 1-year cycle, and let's look at the budget that way.
And Councilor Seaman.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Cannell. I totally agree with you, and I might also request, now that we've been working together for some time, it'd be good for us to also sit down and examine what our priorities are. Whether it's, a half day or full day, but I think, you all have a few months now under your belt and good experience, and I think it would be good for us to decide as a council what our priorities are going forward, because I think that's where we will put our money. And just, I would also ask too, and I'm sorry I should have asked it when we were talking about this before, but curious if any of those other counties, like a Charleston or Myrtle Beach, thinking about tourism dollars, does anybody else have any other revenue sources they're using to pay for deputies or public safety?
I believe, based on what I recall reading, some of them do. They, obviously the coast cities and counties have a huge amount of tourism dollars, sales taxes, things like that are in place. Property taxes based on values and all that. Coast, it's a lot more expensive to live. So there's a lot of, it's hard to compare directly with other locales unless you know what their taxing structure is or what their revenue structure is. It's very difficult just to say, well, we should pay the same as them. Well, we don't know. What's the quality of or the cost of living in those areas? We don't know that. We can find out, but it's hard to just say it off the top.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor
Mr.
Magee.
Chairman, if everybody indulge me on this, I have 3 children. Well, I have 4 actually, 3 that live at home still. If I was to give one $50 a month, and the other one $10 a month, and the other one $10 a month, and I said next year, you're getting a $30 raise, but already you're getting a $2 raise. What would that do to the morale of my kids? So to you, Mr. Administrator, what would that do to the morale? And I'm not saying that public safety is not important, okay? Let me get that out there, Joey. Public safety is the most important thing that government does, provide public safety. So don't say for a second that I don't support the police. I do. I support your sheriff. I support your men. But at some point, it's not a blank check anymore, which is where we're at. So we have to make decisions as elected officials that represent 50-some thousand people, all of us. What would that do to the morale of the other employees who are, they're not out patrolling, getting shot at? I get it. I've been to Afghanistan. I got it. But what would that do to the morale in the county employees?
It's a challenge. We start hearing comments pretty quickly. We've done this in the past, as you are well aware, council members, where we focus on public safety and giving them raises higher than general employees. So it's that constant balancing act. But what we really look at more so than that is what's the market? Are we having problems filling certain positions, and why is that? I think we saw a mass exodus from public safety with COVID, and unfortunately, we haven't recovered. And we don't know what the answer. I don't think anybody knows what the answer to that is. It's not just money. That plays a significant part when you can go next door and get more money, but it's what's it going to take to draw people in? That's what we need to identify.
Anybody else? All right, so it sounds like the discussion we had is now moved into a consideration to kind of put off until we have a workshop, and even have a longer workshop that first time to reestablish priorities and talk through some of these issues and make sure that we get the sheriff's department and other groups involved as well, and go from there.
Yeah, I would suggest we probably look for early in the new year. We'll have some good numbers and revenue numbers, which will drive a lot of the discussion. Whether we like it or not, the revenues and expenditures drive where we can go. So we should start seeing a trend, a very good trend by then, to base decisions on.
And then I think we have, isn't November, December, we have less meetings. So maybe in that area, we could look at having one of the workshops more specific to the priorities rather than the actual numbers, and then move forward from there.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Councilor Collins.
and I think this will also focus us on core functions of government, and some hands may not be deep in the cookie jar, but because we have to supply that core function, regardless if they're in the back office, okay? But, and that's the time, as you said, we got elected to do the core functions, and I think that's where our focus really needs to be. Constant. We do not want to remove services from patrol. I mean, that would just be, anyway, but I think it's a fruitful conversation. I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Anybody else? Hearing nothing, I will entertain one final motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.